Thanks a lot, Lisa, for the invite. And actually, as you can see, we are 3 guys here now. So David is coming from the service department, and I'm coming from the digital sales department, where we develop these kind of platforms. So we have the CRM system where we have the agent implemented, and also the e-business parts. So we are also happy to be there tomorrow. And we are super happy because it's the first time we basically introduce Alfred. Our original target was to have it up and running and live. We said that we also talk about challenges or obstacles. So one was that we had to do some more testing before going live, actually, but we are in good expectations that this will be next week or the week thereafter. So what's it about? So basically, we will show you a service recommendation configurator. We will first quickly introduce Flender to you. Then we'll give you some more background information, and then we jump into the demo, the close to final demo, so that you know how Alfred is looking in action. Good. So basically, our company was founded in 1899, so 127 years of experience in gear units and couplings business. We have our headquarters in Bocholt, that's close to the Dutch border between Düsseldorf and Münster. We have a representation in 33 countries. Most of them are covered with our own sales personnel. In some countries we have partners who are working for us. In the wind industry, we are for the main drives, we are the market leaders, dependent on the figures you take. The Chinese are very strong there also. And I just said to you that basically it's cool to see that we have market companions here present. We have customers here, so it's really, and we are talking about the same things and have similar challenges and sometimes different solutions, but that's the target, to exchange them. One thing where we are also super happy about is that for the second or third time in a row, we got this Platinum EcoVadis recognition. So we are about the top 1% most sustainable companies worldwide. So we have to do an assessment each and every year. And it was recognized that we do it. So also our production, products and stuff like that, everything counts into that, fulfilling the respective targets there. Here's the overview. As I said, our headquarters is somewhere here. Our main markets or our representations are in China with a factory. We have 3 factories in total in India. We have a factory in the US, and the others is either service representations or sales offices and so on. So we have a global coverage. This also basically shows where our gear units will be found around the globe. So what do you expect, or David, maybe you can shed some more lights on what does this figure mean, 600,000 plus?
Yeah. So before we come to the solution that we made with our agent, Alfred, maybe we have to look at some challenges that we have. And when we have a look at this number, we can see that we have over 600,000 gear units in place all over the world. And the first challenge there is that we do not always know who are our end users. So we have a lot of OEM business. They don't share the end user information with us. So when we want to do proactive business, we first of all have to find out who are our end users. So therefore, it would make sense to have a kind of self-service for the customer, that they can take the information and give us the information then that they are our customers and which gear units they have located at their customer site. And the second challenge that we have, based on this huge number of gear units, is the huge diversity of applications, industries that we have. We have really a lot of unit types, over 800 different unit types that we have. And that makes it really challenging to create according spare part packages. Because for each industry, for each application, for each unit type, the packages, they are different, and also the phases of the lifetime of unit is different. Yeah? And with Alfred, we tried to find a solution for these challenges.
Okay, what does this line or snake mean, David?
Yeah, so I just have gave some first information on this. So this is now an example for one lifetime cycle of a unit, and this is only one of maybe hundreds of different snakes lifetimes, you name it, that we have. And what we try to do is, first of all, based on our experience that we have in our business, to split it into the different phases of the lifetime of these units, and for each phase then creating a spare part package. For example, the first one, only some sealings, some buffers for the couplings, and later on then also competent spare parts like geared parts and bearings. And this is what we built up, created a recommendation configurator out of this. And what we try to do now is to digitalize all this knowledge into an agent, that the agent can give the according recommendation to the customer based on all these life cycles of units and spare part packages that we built up.
And
of course, the service sweet spot is the spot where the most interesting parts for us are there. So really the big packages with bearings also then can be connected with repair works on site at customer. So this is the phase that we tackle the most when we want to do proactive business and service. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did it start? Our evolution was as follows. We, the ones who are working with Salesforce, will recognize these little two guys. So Einstein is more the machine learning approach of Salesforce to automate, digitalize processes. So you can, for example, if you create a case, a ticket, you can get recommendations from this Einstein plugin. And we showed some advantages there, how we could improve our internal back office processes. Then management said, there, that's nice, but we are always working on efficiency. But how do you get order intake? So that was then our second POC. We sat together and had a brainstorming session and said, okay, how can we make use of this technology to actually generate in an indirect way order intake, direct, indirect way. And this is how we came up with our second pilot. It was always labeled as order intake generating agent. So that was our working title back then. And basically, we had the issue I guess everybody will face, data quality, and how can we improve our data quality. And we said, let's start from the other side and say, we let the customer put the data in. We would need to generate the service recommendations. So we don't have an issue with the data quality in the first place, because we just offer a user interface where a user can provide his information. We take it, we basically work with it, and then we can generate this service recommendation. On the left-hand side, not only the Excel screenshot, but also David as a person. He was the genius behind this Excel file, where you had a lot of macros in there, so you could generate this documents. We will show you later with this Excel file, but Excel has a big advantage. It's usually locally stored, and usually it's with somebody who's not present when the problem occurs. And this is what we try to get rid of. So we now put it on our website, so the user can get this information whenever he or she needs it then. And what we also had, that when you send out a service recommendation, I think it's not only a challenge in our sales or in our organization, you send it out, shoot and forget. And then maybe if I remember, I do a follow-up. So we said we also want to connect it to our sales processes. So whenever such a document is being created, it also creates a lead or a task, do a follow-up. And it also provides the information from the chat on the respective records in the system, so you know, okay, this person requested this and that. Are we at the end of what we need to have later on for the sales processes? Not yet. You can get a first finding there, but that's also our learnings that at the beginning we said we want an agent and it should do this and that. By testing we found out, hey, wait, this field is empty, why? And so it's more like this iterative approach, and I don't call it a project, it's just a continuous journey we have. Okay, let's jump into the system. And this is now the interesting part also for us, because we...
maybe also there one information. So we have now, this is the external agent that we built up, that will Heiko show to you now. So this is really the agent that the customer can use. But we also built up an internal flow for our sales that they can, in Salesforce directly, create such a recommendation document on their own to proactively go to the customer. So these are two outputs that came out of this project, external and internally.
Yeah. And one of the advantages is when you work with agents, you usually have a business model, consumption-based payments or something like that. And having this internal process, which is not agentic, has the advantage it doesn't cost a thing. But we could make use of the same logic for two set of things. So, okay. So what we, coming to the backgrounds also, we try to provide everybody the information, hey, this is artificial intelligence. So if you're using it, it could give you some results which are not completely 100% sure, but we are very sure that the logic is working. So it's just that the people feel comfortable when I'm using this AI agent, because that was a discussion we always had, would the customer accept it? We don't know, we will see. But we just wanted to point out, and that's why we also had this little Alfred figure developed, because we wanted to give it a face. It's not just, so it was on purpose that we said, okay, we want to visualize. So if we are talking about Alfred, people have this little guy in mind, and it's an AI-based thing. So aside from the technology, we also try to do the marketing part thereof, because when it's successful, then we can brand it as our, let's say, agentic support for our customers. So when I'm saying I have an issue with my gear unit, then the system will now ask, cool, or how can I help you? But we want to know who you are, because anybody could ask that question. Did we make, we had also the discussion, do we do it, Philip, you said in the logged-in area, and we said, no, why? Because maybe the one who has an issue is not part of our mall, so we said, okay, no, we start with no restrictions. Let's just learn the game and see what happens. So
it's also a solution to one of our problems, that we do not know who our end customers are. And with this, we get to know them, especially them that are not logged into our customer portal. So this is why it's important that we keep it open.
Company Copperberg, let's see. Most likely, it will now say that he found information. So it's already connected to our CRM system. And it says, but I have you with a different company. So we also do these checks so that we can relate it later on. And let's see if I have it in the, no. I have a cheat sheet here, so I can take whatever games we have. We need some information, so we need the serial number, we need the product type, we need the size, and the first shipment year. If you remember the snake, we want to know where on this path you are to generate the right contents for you. And
these are all information that are stated on the nameplate of the unit. So can be all read up there.
Correct.
Can you attach a picture?
No, not yet. As I said, when it works and we see that customers accept it, I always used to say the sky's the limit. Now I say the universe is the limit, because when we did the trials, when we did the testing, it's so easy to come up with new ideas. The question is, how much more effort will it involve? So.
Is there a consent for GDPR?
It's at the top, I think we had, but we also try to really point out, hey, you're talking to AI, because that's for sure a topic. So one of the time-consuming exercises was to do a data protection impact analysis. It was a generic AI assessment. It was contracts with our union, and it was contract with our regions. So that was part of the game to just do this tick, tick, tick. And I think now I'm talking about half a year in parallel. But yes, it's a topic.
There's also a kind of opening message from the agent itself, when you open it, first of all, that tells you that he's an agent and tells you exactly what his function is, so that also the customers do not use the agent for some troubleshooting, or it's a very specific function to start now with such an agent. Later on, then we can further expand it. But there's an opening message for the customer that he knows.
And now you see that he sent out the document to the customer. When you would have done the same exercise in the Excel file, you would have been limited to 5 gear units. The processing time would be like, I think it would still be working while we are talking here. And if I would change now, the document is there, but you can look at the timestamp. But what I also wanted to show, we also offered the option to get in contact with somebody. So we said, my production is close to a stop. Gear unit shows oil running out in fountains. So this is the fun part of the testing, because you come up with weird stories. Coming also up with what you said with data protection and stuff. We also tested, can I get my CEO's telephone number? Can I put pressure on the agent to overrule his guardrails and stuff like that? So we had one colleague who only did this, let's say, stress tests, and he wasn't able to get into it. So at present, we are pretty sure that it worked out. Okay. So as you can see, and that's also the interesting part, if I would do the same thing again, the answer would be different, most likely. So it's since it's a Gen AI model behind it, it's more like human communication. And it already gave some recommendations here.
Yeah, but it's important to say that the recommendation document itself that was created beforehand, it's always the same. So there's a clear logic behind it. It's always the same answer, really clear recommendations based on parts and inspections.
Correct. So it says something here, but looking at that, I think it's nothing serious, but that's something we need to take care of, because if the guidance would be, I don't know, just increase power, nothing will happen, then we have an issue. We as Flender would have an issue if that would be the recommendation. So that's where you have to be quite careful with your guardrails in that regard. Okay, let's look at the customer side. So I should have received an email. Three minutes ago. And that's also what we learned when we started. We have not considered how does the email look like for the customer. And so it was white, boring, non-attractive, and even more important, there was no official logo on, there was no signature in that it's really official, and we thought, okay, if a customer would open that, would he open it? And would he remember? Because maybe he asked for the recommendation, and 2 days later he goes into it and says, what kind of email is that? So that's why we said we played around with this idea to give more information. I think we are out of time already.
Maybe we have some 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay, maybe you can show the document, so we can skip the entire flow.
Okay, and I just open.
So in this document, you can see now that what the agent does is he takes all the G units. The agent detects in, okay, which G units are similar and which G units are different. It summarizes the G units that are similar and have the same, somehow similar life cycle, summarize it into one table and giving the according recommendations for these G units. And of course, when they are all completely different G units, it gives recommendations for each G unit by its own. Yeah, and this is what we can see here. For example, for the first two, it detected that these are really new G units that are still under warranty, so there are no current service recommendations so far. Then we have one G unit where we have a middle-age structure. It's an extruder unit, and there you can see then now how it looks like. So we have first of all recommendations about inspection. What kind of inspection should we do? What parts should we look on in inspection? The second one, which is interesting, of course, in this conference now, is the spare parts section here. There's no pricing or delivery times in there. These are recommendations on a quite high flight level. So just to get food into the door at the customer, getting in communication with them, having such a qualified document. It's only about the packages. So we recommend bearing sealing package, for example, and we tell the customer what they should put on stock or exchange already. Yeah? And then the last part is about the oil change intervals, approved lubricants, some information, some interesting links for the customer where they can see their lubricants for the G units, and what the sales can do if they would create it on their own to send it to the customer. They can put in their signature here, their contact data, and just send it proactively out to the customer. In this case, the customer takes it by their own, with this agent as a self-service. But we also have the other way around, that we create opportunities in our Salesforce system based on data analysis, create these documents, attach it to the opportunities, and give it then to the sales and tell them, go to the customer with this document, send it to them, and try to get in communication with them. This is what we do with this.
So maybe because I said that we also have the communication chat here. Let's see if it created a new one.
And the feedback from the customer is quite good so far. We have a lot of orders based on these documents already. Of course, not every customer needs something. We have also G units that have no issue, especially the standard G units. They just wait until something happens there. But especially in the application sector, the big G units, they are happy that we take care of their iBase and give them some recommendations. And sometimes even we give them recommendations for a specific unit with this document, and then an order comes out for a completely different unit. But just we get the food into the door with this document at the customer. Yeah.
I just need to find a different one because that's a live demo fate. It didn't record the chat. So here you see a test I did this morning that it actually then provides a summary of what was requested for, and if somebody calls for this oil inspection or for this issue with the production stop, it usually also makes a short summary and says, okay, that's an urgent case, do a follow-up. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions around this? Yes, there we have.
Hi. I like particularly what you're showing about your service package that you sell proactively during the lifetime cycle of your products. I saw that the most of the service packages you sell or pretend to sell is between 10 and 15 years. Yes. So my question is, how do you handle the trade-off between holding the supply period of parts, which is inventory costly, And I believe your customers want to have it quick. They don't want to wait for service proactive selling and wait in 2 weeks that you sell it. They might want it quickly. And what is also for me to understand the commercial proposition that you do between having the service proactive selling and the sales guys? I don't know the value of the unit, but I guess the service package might worth significantly less than the value of the unit. So is there any competition internally between sales and having this replacement of the unit instead of having the service package proactively selling?
Honestly, first of all, to your second question, it depends on the size of the unit. So we have gear units where we do not have really spare parts business. So they are more exchange gear units. So it doesn't make sense to repair anything there or to have spare parts. Then we also, in this document, maybe we forgot this, in this document there are also some recommendations about exchange of gear units. So when we have a really old gear unit, then we also tell the customer, if you want to, we can give you an offer for an exchange of the whole gear unit. So for the small ones, we don't really do this, that we use this proactive approach. So we start at a specific size of the unit to have these recommendations about parts. So basically, when we have a look at the agent now, we try to give the recommendation to the customer before anything happens, so that we have enough time to send the parts to them, and we do not come into the situation that they have a downtime. But we have different parts. We have parts that we produce on our own, the geared parts, which are the most critical, I would say. It's hard to put them in stock because we have to produce them once they are needed. And for the parts that we buy, the most critical parts, I would say, we also have a stock. So we have an SAP system that looks on our different factories and tells us which parts are where on stock. But yeah, delivery times is also a topic. Honestly, a topic for us that we cannot keep always. That we have really short delivery times.
But that was also one idea to basically proactively motivate the customer to check it, so that we also gain some time, because the lead times for some items might be quite long. Yeah. And the earlier the customer checks it, does something, it's better for his production lines, and it's also good for our purchase lines.
This is why we recommend the customer to put it on stock. So we tell them these are the critical parts of the unit, put them on stock, especially when you have, for example, from one unit type, 10 units in place. Just put one part on stock, that if one of these 10 have a problem, that you are already prepared for this.
Thank you. Give them a hand. Thank you so much.